We start in a creative space, a soothing one at that. Our first topic is a little bit gardening. It's a little bit of sculpture. Now, I previously, before today, would have called this Japanese art bonsai. I have been elevated. Bonsai. It's a Japanese art that's both curious and fascinating, and it's old. Yet we were surprised to see an offering of new classes being offered in Utah County. Let's take a closer look at this somewhat unusual hobby with a how-to. Bonsai. Better?
Yes.
Better?
Great.
Bonsai enthusiast Preston Sonntag is joining me. It's so great to meet you.
Hey, great to have you.
So do you cringe a little when everyone like me says bonsai?
Oh, not at all. I said it wrong for years until I was corrected myself, and it's not a big deal. Everyone will know what you're talking about.
Okay, bonsai though, now we know. And I gave Preston a hard time because for some reason, I don't think I'm alone here, kid of the 80s, 90s speaking, when I thought of bonsai, oh my gosh, that's gonna take some getting used to, I thought of a Saved by the Bell episode. I don't know, but biology class, Slater was trimming his, got too out of control. Anyway, give us a definition of this art form. How is it contained exactly?
Yeah, so bonsai really is a Japanese art form, and what it really entails is shaping and trimming miniature trees, really forming that into something beautiful that replicates nature.
And these would these be full-grown trees if they weren't in a small pot, or are these mini?
That's a great question. Yeah, so these trees can still grow to their full potential, but these have been kept miniature.
Kept small.
Yeah.
And when we say art form, and you talk about kind of the sculpture side of this, I mean, there really is kind of a creative interpretation at play, how you want it to look, how you want it to feel.
Yes, exactly. These trees, it's all up to you. We like to joke it's like oil painting. You can be as good as Michelangelo, but this is more of a finger painting type class.
I like that. That probably never gets old when you tell people that. I like that line. Give us some facts about the bonsai tree.
Yeah, so many amazing facts that we could go into here. So the most important thing is that these can be hundreds of years old, even thousands. So people will hand these down generationally as like an heirloom to their children.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And these trees, they just never stop growing.
They just keep going. What else? What else should we know about this guy?
Oh, one of the coolest things is about how they're shaped. So these need to be adjusted, worked with constantly. It's a fun fact about these is all of these trees are very different. Lots of people think it needs to be one type of tree, but almost anything can be bonsai'd.
You're bringing with you a soothing presence, and that's in tandem with this beautiful art form because it's supposed to represent harmony, right, and patience.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me specifically, I feel like my mind is always racing, and these trees, they take a lot of time. So it makes me take a step back, I slow down, and I work with my trees, and it really just helps me have a good time and think.
In Japanese culture, in fact, I was reading, they represent kind of a spiritual object in some sense.
Yes, a lot of people love to use this for meditation, create a calm space, whether it's in a greenhouse or a room, or even outdoors.
And when you say use it for meditation, is the meditative activity actually pruning and trimming the tree, or is it just the presence of the tree meant to promote meditation?
It can be both. For me, I find that I have too many trees to just enjoy them, so I'm always working on them.
Okay.
But yeah, many will keep a tree and they'll just have it in the presence.
So they will grow, you will shape. Do you reshape? This might be a dumb question. Do you reshape as it grows? It can grow hundreds of years, or do you kind of keep it in its own little spiritual shell?
No, so it does need a lot of work. In fact, I have a tree here that we'll get to later that we're going to work with, but they do need maintenance every 6 months or every year, depending on the tree type.
Okay, and what's our setup here before we get going? What makes this successful in terms of the mechanics of it?
Yeah, so there's a few things that every tree needs. It needs good soil, so this is properly mixed soil. You need a tree that has the light that it needs and the water it needs.
Okay, and is that just consistent with kind of regular gardening, lights, water, nothing too special, but make sure the basics are cared for.
Yeah, exactly.
Where would we start with this, Preston? How would we begin?
Yeah, so with all bonsai, we really want to make sure we have a rounded or cone type top. The most important thing here, and that's why I brought this one in, it does need a little work and a little help from you.
Okay.
So if you actually want to take some of those scissors there
now that we've talked about the cultural representation and the history, and now I'm feeling a little intimidated. What is this?
These are bonsai scissors. They are just like your kitchen scissors, but they are cool looking.
Okay, but they work as I know they do.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right, so no training necessary there.
No training necessary.
Okay.
So the most important thing is we want to do trims about 2 to 3 millimeters above the leaf you want to keep. Now, That's very easy here. What we have is want to create a rounded shape again. So this has what I like to call bonsai bedhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're fun.
Thank you. It looks like your tree just woke up from a nap,
Yeah.
so we want to come in and we want to trim these long ones back to keep this rounded shape
Did
on
you
the
say
top.
2 to 3 millimeters?
Yeah, it's about the thickness of the end of your scissors. I'll
Okay.
guide you here.
Okay.
So I want to have you come in just right about where my finger is. Just
And cut there?
And cut on this branch, this one here.
Oh,
We're
I'm
gonna
cutting
cut
the
that
branch,
whole
the
thing
whole
off.
branch.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eee, okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Come through and just do a couple more of those. So what you're doing is not only important for the shape of your tree, but we really are trying to cut the tree back, which will trigger the tree to have it start growing new branches
New
and
growth.
to fill out.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and trim on this one down in here.
This is no Edward Scissorhand moment. I'm referencing all the
Awesome.
80s
And
hits.
keep going on those.
This is calm. This is slow. When professionals work, are they playing music? Is there any sort of like ambiance to this?
I like to play with my trees and work through while I've got a little bit of a fountain going in the background.
Oh, nice.
Very
Lovely,
serene.
soothing. Okay, where else might
Yeah,
I?
go ahead right here.
Right here?
Yeah, one of the things with bonsai that was biggest for me, and reason I got into this, is each tree, and you can really see it on the trunk here, every tree tends to have a broken or like disfigured or scarred or different unique aspect. So in nature, normally we have a lot of normal trees, but in bonsai, we find misshapen parts and we highlight them, and that's what gives it its beauty. Same thing, that's why I love it, is if we could translate that to people, we look at the different ways that things are unique
Yeah.
and highlight those, and that's what brings beauty.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What's down front? What is this about?
That's our next step here. So we want to replicate nature, make this beautiful. So here are your decorations.
Okay.
I would just go ahead and start plopping stuff in.
Okay, all of them?
Yeah.
Just a collection?
Yeah, and handfuls like you're doing are best. You just want to keep going in, grabbing some moss, but you're going to create your own scene here.
Okay. All
Awesome.
right. Well, this has been very fun, and I love the energy you've brought to kick off our show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Before we
having
say
me.
goodbye, tell me about your classes, and you do sort of a date night experience too?
Yes, so we're down in Pleasant Grove. So going to our website, Bonsai by Me. Now, by is spelled B-A-I, so it's Bonsai by Me, a little play on words
Clever.
there.
Yes.
You can book by appointment, or if you're not coming to do the class, stop in, pick up a tree, pick up our take-home kits. We're there to take care of you, and we'll have a great time.
Quickly, how did you get into this? Who introduced you to this?
So a family friend of mine, I had no idea, was into bonsai and invited us over to see his bonsai garden. Absolutely blew me away. I mean, it was like walking through a forest, but I was a giant and everything was just perfectly arranged.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing this art form and your passion with us. You saw the website on your screen. We'll link you from our website as well. So great to meet you, Preston. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.